Thanks for joining me today for a shorter video with some insight into the storytelling style and some of the meaning behind my game. Be sure to check out the first video in the series for more insight into what the game is, and if you're interested in more frequent updates or playing the upcoming demo, feel free to join our Discord and subscribe to my channel. I want to tell a meaningful story with Florimancer, one that players will look forward to seeing through. We've mapped out the whole thing and some of the details still need refining, but we're really happy with the beats, and it's been a handy guiding light for our level design too. One of the major themes of the game is love versus hate. We're not going to get into anything too real or specific, but I know a lot of us are frustrated with what things are happening in the world right now. I want to write a story that in its own way addresses some issues personal to me and how love and acceptance, represented as our protagonist Florence, we can turn a new leaf and look forward to a better future together. Florimancer isn't a narrative game. It has a narrative, but it's designed to be gameplay and fun first. There's a story going on to keep players moving forward, and there are definitely some mysteries to solve along the way. But I don't want to bog down the game with a ton of dialogue. I want to keep it moving at a steady pace, and like I said, keep it fun first. That's not to say the narrative is going to take a back burner, quite the opposite actually. We've designed a handful of characters, each with their own stories and motivations, and that includes our protagonist, Florence. She's a little naive, but she's not dumb. Early in the game, she finds herself on the mysterious Scale Song Island, and a large part of her story is finding out how to get home. Early in the game, she meets Captain Fleck and offers to help him find the key to the village he lives in because he got locked out. Florence agrees to help him for a few reasons. One, she's a kind person and wants to help somebody in need, but she also sees this as the way forward, and hopes to find some answers in the village. We don't necessarily put that in writing, it's there to be inferred. From a gameplay perspective, we aligned early on that we wanted clever players to be able to sequence break. In our game's intended path, the player will meet Fleck and learn about the key and get a hint on how to retrieve it. But a player that stumbles off in the wrong direction will be able to get the key before ever meeting him or even going in that direction. While getting to the village is one of the first major events to move the plot forward, the way the game is designed, the player will actually be able to complete as much as about a quarter of the game before entering the village if they're up to finding the hidden paths. I spent some time implementing a system which basically just looks like a whole bunch of checks that allows for these sequence breaks to reflect in the narrative. If the player meets Fleck first thing, he'll give him a hint about a key. If the player goes out of the way, solves the puzzle, and returns the key before ever meeting him, you'll see a completely different conversation. These checks are all over the game, and I'm looking forward to what people see. Something I'm considering when writing the game is that the player will have the ability to skip large chunks of the story, so I asked myself the question, how can I still tell a meaningful story if the player might only see the beginning and the end? I've been thinking of this for a while, and I think I finally have an answer I'm satisfied with. I can't. In The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo accomplishes telling their story while giving the player freedom of choice in the order of events by showing the player what is effectively the same cutscene 4 times before bottlenecking the story until it's seen through. This approach works for them, but I wanted to create something with more variety and have the player choice be truly meaningful. Player freedom is a paradox to me as a designer. I want the player to experience all these ideas, a deep story, explore every corner of the map, but at the end of the day, if somebody wants to break the flow, skip the story, and appreciate the game in their own way, then they can. I'm just grateful they chose to spend their time playing my game, and if I'm able to bring them joy by creating a game where they can skip the story, all I'm concerned about is that I brought them joy in the first place. That's why I'm doing this whole thing. Real life is hard, and I just want to be able to make something that makes people happy. A shorter one today, but I was excited to talk about all this. Thanks for sticking with me, and until next time, stay safe and happy gaming.